Hi, I'm Perry,
And I'm Bruce.
and we're two Wargamers talking.
This is a channel about wargaming. So, in the upcoming episodes, we plan on talking about such subjects that we hope will interest you, like rule sets, painting tips, scenario design, what the right scale to use for your battles is.
And today, we're going to interview each other about a list of questions that we thought would be of interest to you.
How did I get into wargaming and when? Well, I've been playing with toy soldiers since I was a very small kid. I just loved it. I don't know if my first soldiers were World War II plastic soldiers, or back in the day, you used to be able to get bags of plastic cowboys and Indians, and I would play with those. But then, when I was 4 or 5, the movie Waterloo came to the local theater, and my aunt took me down to see it. That's quite a movie for a 4 or 5 year old. Maybe back in the day, they didn't really have ratings for movies, I don't know. But anyway, it just blew me away. I loved it. It was fantastic. So the next day, I made my aunt take me down to the local toy store because I wanted to buy some Waterloo soldiers. And I told the store clerk there that I wanted to buy some British soldiers, and she tried to sell me some World War II British soldiers, but even then, I knew what the uniforms were and I knew what I wanted. So I found these Waterloo British and French soldiers, and I got my aunt to buy them for me. And anyway, I've just been hooked, my whole life. A little bit later, I got into board gaming, military board gaming, like Kingmaker, War and Peace, Squad Leader, games like that. Then from there, when I got into university, I met a friend who was actually into miniature wargaming, the real thing. And he got me hooked on 15mm Napoleonics, and I've never looked back. I love the hobby. I know some gamers who will only game one period or only collect one period, but in terms of what my favorite period is, I'm a bit of a butterfly, I guess. I've kind of gone from period to period over the years. My unfortunate habit is I will collect both sides for a certain period, and by the time I've collected them and painted them, I'll be bored of it and then move on to something else. But the periods that I keep going back to would be Napoleonics, which is probably my favorite. But I also really like French and Indian War. I like World War II. And then Queen Victoria's Little Wars has always had a fascination for me too. My favorite scale has got to be 28mm. I find it the easiest to paint, so I get the details that I like on the figure. But also, for me, wargaming is a very visual experience, and I find that 28mm figures just stand out more on the table. So 28mm, the one true scale, that's definitely my favorite scale. What do I like most about wargaming? Well, for me, it's probably immersing myself in a period. Just seeing sort of what things would have looked like and understanding the period. I think that's what I like most about it. It just takes me away from everything, and it's almost like I'm there without actually getting shot at, which is a good thing. I know my wife, I had her play a Battle of the Plains of Abraham game once, and her comment afterwards was that she'd studied it in school, but she never really understood what really happened on the Plains of Abraham until she played this war game. And that's the kind of experience that I take out of wargame and why I like it so much. So I've got a number of other interests that are related to wargaming. I like board games, like non-military board games, like Settlers of Catan. I've got a group of friends I play those kind of games with. I've got a group that I play Dungeons and Dragons with, which is not quite wargaming, but sort of wargaming, but it's wargaming adjacent, let's say. I like to watch historical movies. I like to read historical fiction. So I've got a lot of interests that are sort of related to the hobby, and I guess that's just, the kind of guy I am, the kind of guy that just really likes anything related to games and history.
How and when did I get started in wargaming? Well, like Bruce, I started as a boy with toy soldiers. And I fell in love with them from a very early age, and I collected all kinds of them. And then when I was at public school, one of the teachers brought in the game Diplomacy to play in history class, and that was also enjoyable. From there, I graduated to high school and started playing a lot of board games. I also started to pick up some plastic miniatures to paint and play with. My last phase was going to military college, where I got into the Wargaming Club, and they did a lot of different ranges and different scales, and that was how I got started in wargaming. My favorite period is Ancients. I started with Ancients when I was at military college, and I was fascinated by them. I'm also interested in military history of the periods, so it was natural for me to start with ancient armies. My first army was Macedonian successors, and from that I graduated to late Romans and Byzantines, plus other armies over the years. Like Bruce, my favorite scale is 28. I find this is the ideal range or scale for what we're trying to do on large tables. It's also great when you take them to conventions or you're playing with a group of people, because it's easier to spot who's who in the army. What I like most about wargaming is the social aspects. Getting together with a group of friends to play games around a large table and have a good time. We discuss all kinds of topics, including what we're doing. We talk about what we've been doing since the last game. We talk about what we're going to do at the next game. We talk about the rules, and we have a good time playing the game. The two related activities that I enjoy are writing and researching. I like to write articles about wargaming and military history, and I like to research military history, all periods, with a specific emphasis on ancient and medieval history. I've written a lot of articles over the years, and I've also helped in writing rules and creating army lists for those rules. So it's been very, very entertaining for me to enjoy something as wide as wargaming can be.
Perry and I are members of the Bytown Barbarians, a wargaming club principally in Ottawa, but we game with wargamers across Eastern Ontario. The people we wargame with have a wide variety of interests in military history and have collected a wide variety of armies. Therefore, we play a wide variety of games.
Hello again. What I want to talk about now are some of the things that we are going to discuss in upcoming videos. First on the list are rules. What we play, what we like to play, why we play them, what we don't like about the rules, as well as what rules we're planning to play in the near future. We're going to have interviews with some of the fellow club members, talk about things that they like to do, as well as get some behind the scenes of what their setups are like in their own homes. We're going to talk about 3D printing. Do you want resin or filament? And is it for you? Do you want to invest in a machine so you can create your own miniatures and other things? Or do you prefer to buy like everyone else does? We're going to talk about research. Researching is the heart of the hobby. Researching the rules, researching the history, researching the uniforms, and all these things meld together as we discuss what it is to paint figures, particularly uniforms, what it's like to game, and do we think that the rules are good simulations of the period that we're playing, and also to research things like military history and movies, books, and other things that are of interest to the hobby. There's lots we can research, so we want you to stay tuned for those. We're also going to look at Louisbourg, a fortress in Canada. It's a special fortress which has been under siege twice in its history, both during the long period of 18th century warfare between France and Great Britain. We're going to talk about the architecture, where the fort is located, and also get into gaming the fortress as a siege game, which is different from the normal battle games that we play. We can play a game of the 1745 siege or the 1758 siege. Both are fascinating to us, and we have a scale model that we use that shows you what Louisbourg actually looked like. In addition to this, we're going to talk about militaria, the collecting of things military related to the hobby itself, as well as a secondary hobby that some people enjoy doing. One of our club members is a big fan of militaria, and he's welcoming us into his house so we can take a look at his collection and learn more about what it means to be a collector. These are some of the things that we want to talk about, and we hope you will stay tuned for the future videos as they come up. And also, don't forget our sister channel, The Die is Cocked, where we do battle reports on all the games that we play in the basement, as Bruce likes to say. I hope you'll stay tuned to both channels and find them interesting. And if you want some more material to consume, we both have blogs running. Mine is on Substack, and I've got over 90 articles at the moment. Bruce is going to be starting a blog and talk about one of his favorite projects. And I'll get more into that in later videos. So I hope you stay tuned for all that we have ahead. Thank you.
So that's who we are. Why don't you let us know in the comments below how you got interested in wargaming, what your favorite period is, and what your favorite scale is. We'd love to hear from you.